speaker. Now help me enthusiastically welcome our speaker tonight, John.
John, alcoholic. Chris said to speak directly into the mic, so which I'll probably fail miserably at. So my sobriety date is May 17th, 2011. My sponsor is, shout out, Mike Bennett, because he loves attention. I'm supposed to say like a couple good things about him, but we'll see. Because actually, he didn't buy me this chip. This is a nice chip. Greg bought me this chip. So my home group is Sunday Morning Men's Stag. This is kind of my second home group, this meeting here. I have a service commitment here. I actually don't have a commitment at Sunday Morning Men's Stag. I just kind of a floater, doing whatever they need. I have a commitment taking a detox into a meeting into a detox last night. Les and I went in there. It was great. It's really cool. It's intimate. It's like the man on the bed, because it's usually only 3.5 people. Because there's always somebody passed out on the couch and drooling on themselves, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's awesome. I don't do that because I do it because it's a pleasure. Like Dr. Bob's story says, it's a pleasure. It's a real pleasure to go in there. But I do it because I'm a really sick individual. My sponsor will attest to that. And I'm a very, 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 very sick individual. I have a lot of stuff that goes through my mind. And that hasn't gone away with 13 years sober. It's more than often. Thanks. Most of the time I'm a fairly happy person, 50% maybe at best, I don't know. The other half I'm practicing principles with the best that I can do to stay out of my head and be a happy person, right? Because the other half of the time I'm in self. I was just talking to somebody asked me, are you nervous? And I'm like, if I'm nervous, I'm worried about what everybody's thinking of me. If I'm talking to try to help somebody, then I can't go wrong. Right? It's I'm doing it right. Even if I sound like a blubbering idiot, I'm doing it right. And I understand that. Anytime I'm nervous, anxious, whatever, it's always I'm in myself. It's about me. So this is so I do all the service that I do. I put my hand out to guys. I sponsor guys, and I do that to get out of myself. And the more I do that, the more I'm happier. The more I live a more fruitful life, and it feels great. I love it, But I wouldn't. This isn't something that I would have normally done 13 years ago, right? 13 years ago, I was more about me, and all my problems, and I'll blame. You're always you are always my problem. You always cause my problems. Everybody always caused my problems. When I went to jail, it was the cops' fault, right? Why couldn't you just leave me alone? I was just always minding my business. It doesn't matter that I had a warrant, for not going to court. That's irrelevant, it's just whatever. My sister was my chief enabler, and she would take me in after going to Phoenix and going on one of my runs on the streets, and I'd come back up here and I would detox, and then she would give me a place to live. And then she'd get mad at me when I would get drunk again, and I'm like, God, what's this going on? She's my problem, even though she's just trying to change me. Good Al-Anon, but loving me, not really realizing that, that's the problem, So when I came in here, my last drunk was, I got drunk sometime in the middle of the night from Sunday to Monday morning, so that I made Tuesday my sobriety date, right? And which was May 17th. So when I came back in here, I wanted what you guys had, which was really just to stay sober. It was really just not to pick up that first drink. I could stop drinking, that's fine. I'm what the big book calls the real alcoholic, and I have a friend of mine who's playing on his phone right now that is one of us too, and he was just telling me about how he used to camp out in a tunnel, recently. And, and he was like, I didn't shower for months. And I'm like, me too. And I'm like, you and I, not many people get to that level. That's not really caring anymore and just giving up. And that suited my way of drinking, right? and it suited how it was more of a convenience to my drinking than anything else. I was like, well, I don't have to pay rent, so I could drink with all the money I make, right? And then it just became easy and all that. But so when I came back in here, it wasn't about trying to live this great life and have stuff and make money and all that. It wasn't about that. It was just about and it wasn't about being happy or having this spiritual awakening or kumbaya and holding, and chanting with everybody in a circle, because that's just kind of weird sometimes, but we do it. It is part of our tradition. So I guess it really wasn't back in the day, but that's not what I want. I just did not want to pick up that first drink. So anybody in here that has had multiple relapses, I remember the first AA meeting I came to was in 1995, and it was court ordered, and I came in to get my license back. I had to do alcohol counseling up here, and once again, my enabler, my mom, took me in and gave me a place to live, and I sobered up for a while, and I worked at Taco Bell, because I was at best a minimum wage employee most of my life, a little bit above a minimum wage most of the time, skilled labor type stuff, and so working at Taco Bell, saving up money, and I had to do 6 AA meetings a week, and I remember the first one I went to was the one on Granite Street. It was the old AA club back 1995, if anybody remembers that. And I remember I went in there and I felt out of place, and I didn't feel right. I felt scared. So if anybody feels that way, I totally understand that. I totally get that. I totally was that guy that I could be alone in a room full of people. And so I went into that meeting and left that meeting not talking to anybody, hung out in the corner with my head down, 23 years old. And that was it. The second meeting I went to was in Chino Valley. I don't know if it was the other way around or I don't remember, and I remember going into that meeting with a half pint of vodka in my pocket and some outside issues. And I remember leaving that meeting. They were giving coins out, and I didn't know they were talking about me when they were kind of hesitating on the 24-hour coin, and stuff. And really it was like, well, I'm the only guy in there that was like a new guy, I guess, I don't know. And that they didn't recognize anyways. And I left that meeting and went and drank that. And then I realized this was an anonymous program. And I realized that, you guys, they didn't check to see who was signing your paper. So I just got my paper signed and I left, from my manager at Taco Bell. I also bought outside issues from him. And so it was funny how, I went through that process, and I went through most of my drinking career, which was horrendous. I mean, it was started out kind of fun, 13 years old. I started shoplifting when I was 13 because I was this little skinny, quick running guy, and I could go into Circle K's down in Phoenix. I grew up in Phoenix, and I could run out with a bottle of booze, and nobody could ever catch me, never in a million years. I was until my mid-20s, and I realized I couldn't run that fast anymore. And people were starting to catch me, and I'm like, son of a. Then I had to get more sneaky about it, And so I'm going to be all over the place. I'm ADD. But so here I am, drinking, and I'm having fun. And some of the times, 50% of the time I could drink and not get totally obliterated, like totally just gone, wasted. Other 50% of the time, it's like I hit this little hump, right? I exceeded this certain limit. I'd always drink more than everybody else. It was never 1 or 2 beers and put it down. That's not me. That the big book talks about the normal drinker, the moderate drinker that can have 1 or 2 and put them down. I'm not that guy. I've never been able to have 1 or 2 and put them down. It's just not me. It's not in my cards. Never was in my cards since I was 5 years old that I took my first drink, and I really didn't start drinking until I was 13. But it never really was in my cards to have that 1 or 2. So I always, drank to get drunk. I drank for the effect of alcohol. I've always hated the taste of alcohol. It never tasted good to me. I never was this guy that, the little fruity drink, and a margarita, whatever. I drank margaritas, but they tasted okay, but the alcohol in them tasted like crap, I used to hold my breath with my vodka, and take my chaser and then hold my breath until the chaser was down so I didn't have to taste the alcohol. I drank for that feeling I got from alcohol, that warm feeling in the stomach, and it hit everywhere else, and it was on, and so I was never able to drink normally. It always most of the time way exceeded the limit. I always went way past that limit. And the other 50% of the time, usually when there was a girl involved, because I had this great idea in my mind that, I get drunk and I can talk to women. you know, and because I was always this lowly piece of crap in my head, right? I was never good enough. I could never amount. I could never do this, you know, because I'm worried about what everybody's thinking of me, and I'm just gonna puke when I come up here, right? And that's it. So I was never good enough in my own head, and blah blah blah, you know. So I remember. Let me reverse a little bit to 13, the actual first drink that I took, and let me reverse a little bit more because there's a backstory to this. So the spiritual malady really, and that started when I was young, I guess, because my dad left when I was a baby, and I grew up with only me and my two sisters were the only Martinezes that I knew in the world, right? And then my two sisters got married later, and then I was the only Martinez I knew in the world, you know, until 38 when I met my real dad. So here all this stuff is going on in my life growing up, you know. You know, my dad left, so I'm not lovable. I'm no good, you know. I got abandonment issues. I got commitment issues to this day. You know, I'm still working on it. You know, that's why I'm single. And I've got these issues. My sisters have emasculated me, you know, made me feel like that. So I got a good story for you, all right? So my family calls me Chris. That's my name I grew up with. I'm Chris Martinez, John Christopher Martinez. And in the fourth grade, you know, because my sisters were emasculating me, they were, you know, they would always be Chrissy, you know, and all this, and it, you know, and I couldn't do anything. They're bigger than me. I couldn't beat them up, you know. And then I got old enough to beat them up, and they had kids, and I was like, I'm screwed then, you know. And so fourth grade, I started going by John. So now everybody from the fourth grade on has met me, knows me as John Martinez, right? That's it. That's I'm not good enough, you know, I can't be comfortable in my own skin crap, you know, that I growing up. So I was always like I love The Simpsons because it's the perfect epitome of the dysfunctional family, you know, and I was like that. I fit all those roles. You know, I was mostly the scapegoat, though. I got into a lot of trouble, the Bart Simpson, you know, and it wasn't bad trouble, but it was a lot of trouble. You know, I would usually get suspended once or twice a year. I was always a D student at best, D plus or D minus at best. I don't know. You know, I barely skated by in every grade. I ended up dropping out of high school. I never got a GED or anything. And you know, I was barely skated by every grade. Boom, boom, boom. I got in trouble. You know, I remember this one. I don't know why this one sticks in my mind. But it was like third grade or something, or second grade at Sunny Slope Elementary. And I remember them specifically saying, and this was their fault, they specifically told the whole class, the beans trees over by the fence, by the road, don't pick those beans. And you know, you can't tell me that. I specifically went over to that on recess and picked the beans and got suspended. You know, just because they told me not to do it. That is in my nature. Defiance is part of my defining characteristic. To this day, you know, I still have to rely on instructions outside of my own head, or I will go pick the beans. You know, I will do that. I will go, okay, don't tell me what to do. I will go do this. So here I am growing up. I have all this stuff going on in my head. I discover alcohol at 13. The real alcohol. I drank at 5. I drank at 11. And then at 13 is where I really discovered that aha moment, you know, because I'm, you know, piece of crap. I moved from Sunny Slope, which was, anybody who knows Phoenix is just a crappy neighborhood. And I moved up to the Paradise Valley area of North Phoenix, not the town of Paradise Valley, but the Paradise Valley area, which is like middle class. So I'm this little scumbag that, you know, from the slopes, and I come up here, and that's where that really, when I'm a dirtbag amongst dirtbags, I felt okay. You know, I felt like, oh yeah, I'm fine. You know, I'm good. I'm just one of the many dirtbags. You know, and I found my fellowship of dirtbags. You know, and so I moved up to the other side of the hill. You know, which is really there's a mountain right there, and the other side of it is PV. And I moved up there, and then all of a sudden people have clean shirts, and they change their socks, and they have nice underwear, as I found out in the gym. You know, you know, I had old underwear. You know, because Harley was the god, you know. The Harley Davidson being built in the living room was the god, and their, you know, lunch money and school clothes were not a priority. It was a new clutch or you know, or a new sprocket and chain, or well, Harleys are belt drive, but you get the picture. And so that was like how that came, you know. So here I am separating myself. I came up here. I'm feeling different, you know. Summer break. I could always make friends in school. I had no friends, nothing, and I found that little elixir up on the counter. That golden elixir, you know, it was like, I can't think of a good analogy right now, but you don't understand though. You know, and so I remember at 13 years old taking a couple drinks of that. I think I had a beer out of the refrigerator and sitting there. They already went to sleep, and I'm just sitting there on the floor feeling that warm, fuzzy feeling come over me, and all of that uncomfortableness, all that I'm different than, because all that, everything just went away. It was gone, you know, and I felt like the solution. You know, I love Mike's analogy when he talks, you know, the Technicolor. It was black and white, and then it was just perfectly in color. You know, everything's like, whoa, you know, it was too. And Polly's analogy is like a big hug. You know, I just felt like the solution, you know. And from that point forward, and literally from that point forward, I chased that feeling. I chased that feeling to feel that ease and comfort from that first drink and the second drink and the thousandth drink and whatever. You know, I chased that to the end of the earth. I never really had a life, but I chased what little life I could manage to have into the ground. You know, and there really wasn't much to chase into the ground, you know, because I was still just a little dirtbag until I got sober, really, you know, honestly. I never really had anything. And that was kind of my bottom, too. So here I am. I discovered that solution, which was alcohol, my anesthesia, you know, and all the outside issues too were just substitutes for the anesthesia. My alcohol was always first and last in my life, and it was always my true love in the beginning and everything. It was always through underlying. There was other things that substituted that when I didn't have it, but it was always that. I mean, like when I was 19, I had my first street bike, and I used to just go cruising around Phoenix, you know, and stealing bottles and just drinking, driving around, riding my bike around, drinking, wrecking it, at least twice a week, maybe laying it down. You know? And I'd go buy a new mirror. Then I'd get paid and put a new mirror on. I'd go ride it around again, wreck it again in 2 weeks. You know, go buy some new handlebars and some gauges. And I just kept doing this, you know, and that was my life. You know, that was all I knew to feel comfortable, you know, I mean. And it was always just chasing that comfort level, you know. If I didn't have any alcohol in my system, I was so miserable. I was so uncomfortable. You know, I couldn't live life. I couldn't think right. You know, I was just so, and I chased that. That was like that from 13 to 39 until I got sober. You know, it was 26 years of anesthetizing my feelings, my emotions. You know, anesthetizing them. You know, so when I came in here, I had no idea how to deal with life. I had no idea anything, but I didn't know that was my problem. You know, I didn't know that was it. I didn't really fully know alcohol was my problem, that I was alcoholic and that I drank differently for the longest time. Even I can't really remember it until I came in and started hearing your guys' story. You know, and that was a long time after 10 years of on and off the streets, detoxing on and off the streets. You know, it was 10 years of there before I came into AA. I wasn't always on the streets, obviously, but you know. And I would detox, I would sober up, and I would do stuff to substitute my alcohol, and I would be miserable as hell, angry, discontent, everything, you know. And I just didn't get it because that was my normal, you know, to the alcohol life. That was my normal. It was either full on, full bore, full throttle, drunk, or miserable. You know, just managing life miserable, but not drunk, working. Making money, get a little coin in my pocket, you know, had a place to live, all that good stuff, you know. It was always either or. There was never happy, sober, anything. You know, that's the story of my life for, you know, really 16 years from 23 to 39. But 23 is where it all switched. So I didn't get it. So when I go back to my story, you know, at the beginning, what I was just saying, you know, I didn't come in here to get happy or anything, because that was normal. I didn't know what happy was. I didn't understand that. You know, when I saw like a group of people, and I saw like a couple people over here, and they got their little group of 4 people, and they're laughing. They're laughing at me, and that's a literal statement. You know, I mean, I vividly remember that they're laughing at me. You know, and they weren't laughing at me. You know, they were just having fun. That was like normal people over there. You know, that's so foreign to me. Normal people. You know, like living a life and not needing to do this to survive. You know, that's like normal over there. I don't understand that. You know, and I didn't get that, and I didn't understand that forever. You know, and so when I came in here, I didn't really understand what was going on with me. I didn't. You know, I know I was scared. I knew when I drank, I didn't stop, but I thought that was by choice. I just thought, you know, that was just me choosing to drink for 9 months straight, 24/7. That my alcoholic life was the normal one. There wasn't anything else. There was nothing else to compare it to. So when I came in here, I was like, bam, and really the spoiler for what happened to me was I look at things, and I go, oh, that's horrible. Things that happened in my life. Oh God, that was just so bad. But I don't think that anymore. Because I look at it and I feel the pain. I'm going through it. It feels uncomfortable. I'm feeling the emotions in sobriety, and I look at it and I go, after all my history, anyways, that I've known now, and I even looked before I got sober at my history, and I go, that pain always leaded up to something better after the pain. As long as I follow my directions, I do what I do. I still go to the detox. I still do my service commitments here. I'm the commitment chair here, and I still put my hand out to guys. I still do all the things that I do, and I know I'll get through that, and it's going to be better on the other side, right? So I didn't know that though when I came in. All I knew was that. Let me back up. So 2006, when I had a hernia, and I had a hernia surgery. And I remember, oh, sorry, Chris, I'm not speaking into the mic. I had hernia surgery, and I remember still drinking, and I'm thinking, I don't want to throw up, because I didn't throw up when I was drinking, I threw up when I was detoxing. And I'm like, I can't stop drinking, and if I can't stop drinking, I'm going to throw up. And I remember, like, I don't want to damage this. So I came into a detox in Mesa, Community Bridges, East Valley. It used to be EVAC. They had Larkin EVAC, and I went to EVAC. And I remember going in there, coming out, leaving AMA, coming back, and the nurse calls me. He's like, "You can't go in and out of here. This isn't a hotel, right?" And I just remember the gates of hell being closed on me, right? Because I remember there was no solution at that time. I didn't have a solution. I thought, I'll go into the detox and this will be my solution, right? I didn't know. I didn't get what was going on with me, and I remember him telling me that, and I felt like, no matter what I did, if I left there that moment, I was going to pick up a drink, and there was nothing I could do about it. And that's that first realization about that I'm going to drink again, and I can't do anything about it. And I remember going into Craig knows Tate. I remember when left that detox, and I went to a halfway house, and I thought that was the solution. I'll go into a halfway house, and I'll be with a bunch of new guys, new drunks in sobriety, and that'll be my solution. And if anybody that's ever lived in a halfway house knows, it's interesting. As the guy I went to detox became the house manager, and then is nodding off in the bathroom because he's slamming heroin in the bathroom, I realized how different it was, and how fallible that was. And so I had my first relapse, technically, I guess, So when I came into AA, they kind of really spoiled that thought, because I came in, Tate walked me into my first meeting. I felt like this just helpless, hopeless guy, this little kid that was scared once again, and I didn't know. I was 33 years old, and I couldn't understand, how scared I was and how uncomfortable I was. But like a grown man, a 33-year-old grown man, that walking me into this meeting, and I participated. I got a sponsor, and at Bloopers, you announce your first 30 days. You always stand up every meeting. John, alcoholic. I'm 17 days sober. And then I would be like, ooh, I got 45 days, and I'd disappear for a week. I'd come back, John, alcoholic, I got 6 days sober. And I did this for, on and off for 6 years. So I can relate to anybody that's struggling in here. I get it. I understand the picking that drink up, not wanting to pick that drink up. And that was my bottom right there. And you guys telling me that, these guys telling their stories saying, it's never going to get any better. It's always going to get worse. It's just going to keep getting worse every time I go back out. And I kept hearing they were telling me that they weren't telling me this. They were telling me their stories, right? They were telling me their experience. And I was listening to them, and once again, I'm this defiant little, don't tell me what to do. I was still kind of on the brink of not being defiant, of listening and letting them know that I'm listening. And them telling me this, and it sunk in, because you know what AA did for me for 6 years? It didn't keep me sober. Meeting makers sometimes don't make it. It's just the nature of the truth. I did a lot of meetings, and I didn't make it for 6 years. There's more to it than that. What that did was really screw up my drinking. Screwed it up bad, really bad. I used to be able to drink my alcoholically normally, and be miserable, and it was okay, because that was my normal. That was my truth. you know. And after coming into AA, it totally screwed. I was so miserable drinking. I mean, I could last a couple weeks before I got so in my head. I mean, I was getting into fights, and I literally called the police on myself a dozen times, and went and checked myself in. Literally, I mean, there's no joke. And went into the hospital 50 times. You know, I didn't know what to do. You know, and that was my bottom. You know, was that struggle of I don't know how to not pick up that first drink, no matter what I did, man. I mean, I could come in here for 30 days, 60 days. But I would always keep picking up that first drink, and it just got so demoralizing doing that. That was it. And I knew it wasn't going to get any better. I knew it was just going to keep on getting worse and worse and worse. My health was going to fail. Somebody's going to be changing my diapers. You know, I'm going to be living in some indigent freaking home somewhere, you know, with my $600 of Social Security, you know, that I was probably at best probably 500. I don't know, because I didn't make any money, you know, because I was a loser, you know. And you know, that was my reality. That was my truth. And that was pretty powerful, you know, because when I came back in here on May 17th, 2011, and that was a Tuesday, and I got a sponsor on that Friday at the Friday night speaker meeting, which was my home group for a year, till I developed the resentment. No surprise. And that was my truth, was I just wanted whatever I could do to stand underneath my feet. You know, I just wanted, like, I keep getting drunk at 30, 60, 90 days sober, right? This keeps happening, and I can't do anything about it. I'm screwed. It's going to happen again. All right, that was my reality when coming in here, and I knew this 1,000%. You know, so I was like, all right, I just want something underneath my feet, you know, so that when that time comes, when I hit that wall, you know, I'm like, all right, I got something underneath my feet that I can stand on, and I won't fall, you know. So I came in and I busted my ass. You know, I mean, I did 10 meetings a week for like a year and a half, right? I started sponsoring guys at 8 months sober. You know, I was at service at every meeting. I'd go around and pour the coffee if I wasn't doing something else. You know, I shook people's hands. I started to get out there. I started going to the picnics. I just started doing all kinds of whatever I could. I was journaling every day, calling my sponsor every day. You know, just whatever I could do, man. I was trying to remain teachable. You know, I tried to not to know it what was going on. You know, I tried to understand, you know, and hear what I was hearing and how it applied to me, and learn more about myself, the truth about myself. And something happened, you know. It was weird, you know, because I passed by that 30, 60, 90 days and I didn't drink. You know? And I didn't feel confident that, oh, I got it now. I got this. What's the last thing an alcoholic says before he dies? I got this. You know, and that's the truth. I'm okay. I got this. Yeah. Okay. If anybody ever hears me say that, slap me. Anybody that knows me, you know. Yeah, might go bad the other way. But yeah, no, that was it. You know, I mean, and today, you know what's changed today from that 30, 60, 90 days? Nothing. I don't got this. You know, I've heard stories of people going out at 20 years sober, and Al's the powerful one I could ever hear. You know, he's like, and he told, you know, his story is he starts fading away at 13 years sober. Slowly fading away at 13 years sober. I love that, because that's me right now. I'm 7 years out from dying, or sooner. I don't know. You know, I don't know if I stop what I'm doing. And my first step today, you know, my first step when I came in here, you know, was I'm doomed to pick up that first drink. My first step today is that if I don't keep doing what I'm doing, I'm doomed to pick up that first drink. I don't want to. You know, I have a spiritual malady. You know, I have that spiritual sickness that if I don't constantly treating it with medicine, you know, of doing stuff for other people, you know, constant thought of others is and how we may meet their needs. Not to the codependent level, but, you know. And if I don't do that, you know, I know I'm doomed to be back in self. I'm going to block myself off from that power greater than myself that I found through the steps. You know, because when I came in here, I had that real problem with God. Like I said, the Harley was the God, right? That was the God right there, the motorcycle in the living room, right? That was it. You know, that was what I was taught. I was taught to make fun of people that believed in God. People knocking on your door telling you you're going to hell if you don't do this, right? I was like, okay, if I'm going to hell, then I'm gonna do this right. You know, I'm gonna as much trouble as I can. You know, that's really literally what I thought when they said that. You know, that was my conception. You know, and it turns out, you know, that I came in and that power greater than myself was whatever the hell you guys were doing. You know, and through that process of the mechanical process of those steps, right? Of the steps are just tools. It says a kit of spiritual tools right there, laid at my feet for inspection. You know, and that's what you guys did. You laid them at my feet for my inspection. You know, and I just believed that you know, like my third step was just, all right, you know, that's it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go on with the steps with the faith, you know, that it'll work for me. And somewhere in that process, I found something that I can't explain really, you know, and I can't really define it. I can't tell you what it is. I can't. It just is. You know, God is easier. You know, great spirit of the universe that underlies the totality of things. You know, I can't say that all the time. You know, I could, but God. You know, that's just an easier word for me, and it's right here. It's always been here. You know, even all the bad stuff that I did out there, running and gunning, you know, it's always been right here. You know, there's always been that the good. You know, just add another little letter in there. Good. It's always been in there. You know, it's always been. It's just showed brief little glimpses. You know, and I look back. I didn't notice them at the time, but I look back and I go, yeah, it has always been there. You know, I've just been blocking it off with I'm different than. You're not doing what I think you should be doing. You know, I'm afraid of doing this. You know, I'm afraid of what you guys think of me. You know, it's always been blocked off by that, and those steps just kind of unblocked it, little pieces by time. You know, and the next thing you know, I'm feeling this. Instead of that glimpse of it, like, what are you doing? You know, that's weird. Oh, get away from me. That good, that God. You know, now it's like, oh, wow, this is great. You know, I go through my life and I put my hand out with sincerity. You know, I really do. You know, that means a lot to me. You know, to put my hand out because that's what was done to me. You know, I remember Kenny O at Bloopers. Craig might know him. I remember every meeting I went to, he was there at the door shaking hands. Hey, how are you? I guess he passed away a few years back. But how are you doing? I remember that every meeting, man, he'd be at the door. How you doing? Welcome. You know, shaking everybody's hand. You know, and that's that example that I give. You know, that's what I try to do. You know, I know that it's something I do for fun, and it's something that I know that the rewards will be enormous on the other side. You know, when I'm having a bad day, how you doing? You know, when I'm having a good day, how you doing? You know, so I know Dr. Bob's story. You know, he talks about working with new guys. You know, with the insurance, he's like, it gives me a little bit of insurance, and I don't know how much insurance I need before I'll pick up that first drink. I don't know. You know, I know how much. I know it's always working against me, right? If I stop going this way, I'm always going the other way. You know, the less I do, the more I get in self. And the more miserable I am, the more unhappy I am, you know. And for me, I this is my truth today, right? Is that if I ever pick up a drink, it's going to end one of three ways, right? It used to be two, but now it's definitely three. I've never ever been suicidal in my life. Never thought about it. Never entertained it. Never tried it. Nothing like that. I've never been that guy. I can't relate to that. I know other people are, you know, and that's you know, is what it is. I mean, I guess I don't know, but. I know right before I pick up that first drink, it's either going to be a bullet in my brain, because whatever's going on up there is going to be so bad that if a drink sounds like a good idea, or I'm going to pick up a drink, I'm going to be dead or in prison within a week. One of those three things. I know that. That's my truth today. That's what keeps me here. That's what keeps me doing this deal. That's my motivation. You know, that's because it's not this is life and death. You know, I mean, we have fun, we laugh, we do fun, cool things. You know, you watch us, and we're having it. You know, but this is life and death. You know, and one of my favorite. I was telling somebody earlier, and one of my, you know, you are not alone is like one of my favorite AA slogans. You know, if you're in here and you think and you can relate to what I said tonight, you know, you're not alone. There's a lot of people in here that can relate to that. You know, all of us pretty much. You know, I mean. And the other one was you know, we stick together or we die alone. We may not like all each other, but we stick together, but we die alone. You know, and that's powerful to me. You know, because we've seen a lot of people die. You know, it's sad. I don't like to, you know, turn this talk into a thing, but you know, it's the truth. It's the nature. We have fun, but there's a deadly earnestness. Like our literature says, it's a deadly earnestness. We die from this. You know, it's a fatal malady. That's why they call it a fatal illness. You know, so what I found through here, though, it's not like that. It's not a struggle today. You know, it's not this thing that I go through this little part. I can't walk down the liquor aisle, you know, or I can't be around alcohol. You know, I can't go a place where alcohol is served. It's not like that. You know, and there's specific instructions that I follow. You know, do I have a good reason for being there? You know, Am I trying to just kind of peek in there? Am I going in the bar drinking ginger ale just to feel good? That's probably not a good idea. But more importantly, I look at it and I go, am I spiritually fit before I go? If I have a good reason, there's a wedding or something like that, am I spiritually fit before I go in there? Am I right in my head? Did my mom just die or something? Maybe I shouldn't be going around alcohol. Maybe that's a bad idea. And it's a good little set of instructions to do that. And today, for like my 10th step, is the one that comes out that's so powerful to me is that emotional unsobriety, right? Unemotional sobriety, excuse me. I said that wrong. I strive for emotional sobriety, but being spiritually unfit, that restless, irritable, and discontent is really powerful for me. And it comes back quite often. It's there throughout my day, and I recognize it now. But where it used to be normal, now it's foreign. Like the happy used to be foreign and the miserable was normal. Now it's the opposite. It comes back in, but it's so foreign. I'm like, yeah, whatever. What are you doing here? Get out of here, And it comes back. I'm not going anywhere, And that's a real litmus test. That's that real test of where I'm at, But the bigger one, and this is out of my instructions too, is if I'm feeling every now and then, I can walk down the liquor aisle. That's fine. I'm going over to the water at Fry's. I'm going down this liquor aisle to go eat a bottle of water at Fry's. There's nothing wrong with that. I could go through the gates of hell, mind my business, And every now and then, and not very often, I notice, and this is the one that there's something going on subconsciously that I don't know about, is I don't feel comfortable around alcohol. Every now and then. I don't feel like drinking. That hasn't returned. It's been gone since the beginning. But I don't feel comfortable around it. And that one's a big one for me, because then there's something going on I don't know about. And I can usually, if I do some inventory on it, I can figure it out. I broke up with a girlfriend, or I didn't get a job I wanted, or the job's going bad and the client's mad at me, and that's another thing. I'm not good enough in my head, whatever it may be, So whatever, but that's there's something going on that's blocking me off from that power greater than myself, God, and that uncomfortable is a way of showing it. So I watch that really, really closely, more than the restless, irritable, and discontent. Well, both equally, but that's one of those ones where there's something going on here. So today, it's a joy to be up here. It really is. I love it, because I was telling someone, like I said in the beginning, I love helping new people that are struggling, because I know how it is. I get it. I want to try to say something that, through my story that can relate to, because that's the biggest thing in my life, is watching the light come on. When I see that light bulb come on, when somebody's been struggling for so long, and then they come in and they might be struggling in the beginning maybe or something, and then you just see the switch go, and you're just like, whoa, whoa. And they don't see it. We don't see it when it comes on with us. But then we see it when it comes on somebody else, and that's the biggest joy, is seeing that light come on. Whether we're part of it, or whatever, man. It just happens. When somebody's ready, they're ready, and then they're doing the work, and they get that psychic change from doing the steps. My thinking is totally different than what it was before I came in here. My ideas, my concepts, my plans, these great plans that I had are just totally different, and they're replaced with something different, with a set of clear-cut instructions on what to do and how to do it. When that occurs, it's like, wow, I see that light come on in somebody, and that's the biggest joy. That's what I live for now, and it's like, you guys are my family. That's why I say stick together or die alone. Sometimes we don't like our family, some of them. That's all right. You're still my family. You can't do anything about it. I'm not going anywhere. But yeah, so I can see you guys more than my family. I get to see kids grow up, have kids, and grow up in this program. I've got to see quite a few of them. I get to see people get married, and a fruitful relationship blossom up in the program. And people get sober, and I get to see friendships grow, new guys, they're growing up together, it's like, wow, this is just so awesome. I love this fellowship, I love it. It's freaking, I wish I could do, like the Star Trek thing where Spock goes, he puts his hand on him, and the mind meld, and you see what he's seeing, and you feel what he's feeling, And anybody that doesn't understand, doesn't get it yet, that hasn't felt that, I wish I could just do that, put it on there and go, you get it now? Just for a second, just a brief second, just enough to feel it, just to go, oh, wow. And then it's gone. It's like, no, I want that. Cool, come on, join us, man. We'll show you how to get it. We can't give it to you, but we can show you how to get it. We can do that. Dave's getting ready to put up his sign. Time. And so we can do that, we can show you, and I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to walk the walk, like I say, I will not carry anybody, but I will walk the walk with you. I will show you what has been shown to me. It's the best of my ability, I will walk the walk with you. I'll give you the simple kit of spiritual tools. I'll show you how they work, from the best that I know how they work, best out of the literature, which is clear cut, and I'll give you the best that I can, and I'll be there and give you perspective, on things, and I'll do that, and I'll walk to the ends of the earth, and if not, then, I hate to see you go, but that's just what it is, I feel bad, it's horrible. It's a horrible existence, but great things. Pain is the touchstone of all spiritual progress. I look at it today and I go, wow, everything I've been through led me to this moment right here. I like the speaker that it was like when things are going bad in his life, his sponsor would tell him, it's okay, your life is unfolding into greatness. Well, it doesn't feel great right now. I don't know whose speaker that was. I heard him a couple times. My life is unfolding into greatness. I like that. It's like, everything's crashing down. Don't worry, your life is unfolding into greatness. Like, how the hell can you say that? I'm losing everything right now. Don't worry about it. Just hang in there, man. I get that. I understand that now because I've been through, not tragedies, but I've been through hardships, mostly self-inflicted, And I've been through that, where I'm getting in self, and so I have much practice at it, and it gets easier the next time I do it. This is the hope. I have more practice at it the next time, and I can tell you how miserable I was the first 10 times I did it. The lesson will repeat it until it's learned. So yeah, if anybody wants to walk the walk, if they need help, if they just have questions, that they don't understand what's going on, I'm willing to be there, to give you my phone number, to talk to you, to tell you what I know, the little bit of experience I have, and hope you make it, and we can trudge that road. Trudge is not a bad road. It's walking with a purpose. It's a great word. Trudge the road of happy destiny together. So I think I got a couple minutes, but I'm good. So I'm grateful to be here and sober, and I'll pass.